Let us begin. This briefing is not a market update. It is a strategic deconstruction of an emerging form of industrial power. We will dissect the entity known as Zensho Holdings, not as it appears, a restaurant chain, but as it is, a vertically integrated logistics empire. Our analysis will proceed through 6 strategic perspectives. This is not a sequence of topics, but a layered deconstruction. Each perspective builds upon the last, providing a comprehensive model of the Zensho entity, from its core economic architecture to its inevitable geopolitical equilibrium. We initiate our analysis with an investigation into a data point that should not exist in conventional manufacturing, a figure that appears to violate the fundamental laws of the sector. An operating profit margin approaching 50% within this industry is not a signal of success. It is a structural anomaly. It represents a defiance of the economic gravity that governs traditional manufacturing and, in effect, mocks the principle of market entropy. It is therefore imperative that we deconstruct the mechanism which produces this aberration. The mechanism is the mass merchandising system. Let us deconstruct this. Its technical reality is the complete ownership of the supply chain. Zensho does not merely participate, it controls the biology, the transit, and the final conversion of protein into a consumable calorie. Its economic impact is the anomalous margin we have just observed. By internalizing the entire value chain, it eliminates all external market friction and price discovery. And the geopolitical consequence of this is a closed-loop system fully insulated from the volatility that destabilizes its competitors and, indeed, entire national economies. Let us now examine the physical and financial architecture that renders the MMD system an insurmountable competitive moat. This is not a matter of brand loyalty, it is a matter of kinetic, infrastructural dominance. Zensho's structure demonstrates absolute vertical hegemony. Upstream, it controls its own trading houses. Midstream, it owns the processing plants and the cold chain logistics network. Downstream, it operates over 10,000 global storefronts. The recent acquisition of Snowfox and AFC must be understood correctly. This was not a retail play. It was the strategic seizure of global aquatic protein routes, securing critical supply chains from the waters of Alaska to the Mekong Delta. To be clear, Zensho does not participate in the value chain. It is the value chain. The consequence of this total vertical integration is absolute cost opacity. By internalizing all inputs and transfers, Zensho's cost structure becomes a black box. This renders their financial architecture functionally invisible to competitor price tracking algorithms and external market analysis. It is impossible to model a cost structure that has no external market reference. And this brings us to the crucial implication of this black box. It forces a fundamental shift in the competitive landscape. The terms of engagement are no longer about product differentiation or taste. The competition has been moved to the raw infrastructural level, fought over the marginal cost of a single gram of protein. This is a war no conventional competitor is capitalized to fight. We now turn our analysis to the second-order effects of this model. Zensho does not merely dominate its own sector, it fundamentally disrupts the established real estate and service paradigms of the entire quick-service industry. Observe the comparison. A traditional operator like McDonald's is, in essence, a real estate company exposed to significant overhead and mortgage risk. Zensho, particularly through its Snowfox and AFC assets, employs a model of asset-light parasitism. It operates kiosks within established Western retail titans like Kroger and Tesco. This allows it to hijack existing foot traffic, effectively outsourcing all storefront risk and capital expenditure. It becomes an invisible, embedded utility. This is not an evolution of the fast food model. It is its replacement. We are witnessing an ontological shift. The company ceases to be a restaurant operator and becomes the Intel inside of the global protein market, a logistics-first, technology-driven system that manages protein from its biological origin to its final point of consumption. This logistical dominance elevates our analysis to the geopolitical plane. We must now reframe Zensho, not as a corporation, but as a global food security utility, possessing significant strategic influence. Zensho practices what can only be described as protein arbitrage. The technical layer is its ability to shift global commodity sourcing in real time, from South America to Oceania, based on a constant stream of proprietary climate, currency, and political risk data. The economic impact is that its margins remain stable, even insulated, during periods of market volatility that cripple its rivals. And the geopolitical consequence is its ability to guarantee a stable food supply, making it an essential and therefore powerful utility for the nations it serves. Zensho is constructing a modern Silk Road of protein. It uses the soft power of culturally desirable products like sushi and gyudon to mask the construction of hard infrastructure, namely cold chain logistics and trading monopolies. This food infrastructure is welcomed as a neutral provider of nutrition, rendering it politically invisible but economically invincible. To understand the machine, we must understand its architect. We now shift our focus to the strategic paradox of the founder, Kintaro Ogawa, whose ideology functions as the software running the entire Zensho apparatus. Ogawa is a former radical student activist. He understood that true power derives not from protest, but from owning the means of production. His stated philosophy is to eradicate hunger. This should not be mistaken for philanthropy. It is a market saturation strategy. The company name, Zensho, translates to total victory. His method is a paradox: to achieve a socialist-like outcome of universal food access through the most ruthless and efficient mechanisms of vertical capitalism. In 2014, the one-op labor scandal presented an existential threat. A conventional firm would have pursued public relations and minor reforms. Ogawa did not. He pivoted to extreme automation. Zensho turned its greatest vulnerability, human labor, into a strategic advantage. They did not reform the culture. They automated the bottleneck, creating the algorithmized kitchen and a system of what can only be described as discipline as a service. The human element was reclassified as an interchangeable and ultimately replaceable component in a larger machine. We will now conclude by projecting this trajectory forward to its logical and inevitable conclusion on a global scale. This is not a prediction. It is an observation of the current state of equilibrium. By 2035, Zensho will not be considered a restaurant company. It will be the operating system of food, an entity that controls the global nutritional supply chain, insulated from the market forces and strategic drift which erode all conventional brands. The competitive battle has already been won in the infrastructural layers the public never sees. This leads us to a final critical question. If Zensho achieves for the global protein supply what Amazon Web Services has achieved for data, does it become a logistical entity more powerful and more essential than the very nations in which it operates? The final assessment is an inconvenient one. The Sukiya beef bowl is not the product. It is merely the delivery mechanism for a data-driven, vertically integrated global logistics empire. A competitor is not competing against a chef. They are competing against a revolutionary army with an industrial machine. Zensho's greatest power lies in its invisibility, its ability to control the global food supply without the public ever perceiving the true scale of the empire. Hegemony is most complete when it is unseen. This concludes the briefing.